Hi and welcome to a video about the astrology for 2019. Well, maybe not the whole of 2019. I can give you a sort of a broad overview of the year, but then I'll look more deeply at the first 3 months. So it's sort of 2019 part 1, the first quarter if you like. Okay, so if everybody's sitting on the edge of their chairs and thinking, yes, come on, tell me that 2019 is going to be better than 2018. Switch off now, because I wish I could tell you that, but I don't think so. If I was to give 2019 one key word, I think it would be tension. We don't seem to have any absolutely new stuff. What we seem to have is a situation where all the issues that we're very familiar with just keep going round in the hamster wheel. And although there will be developments and although things will happen within these issues, we don't seem to get any new stuff. It seems that it's the same old story, same old, but sort of developing sort of new issues within those stories. But it is, I'm afraid, pretty much like 2018. There's still a level of anxiety in the air, and that's kind of standard really, and that's courtesy of the cyber technology that we deal with now, that our brains weren't really meant to work at this faster pace with this much data flashing past us. Life is speeding up, and the stress that puts on us, the amount of screen time we have, does lead to levels of anxiety which won't go away unless we take time to have time out, so no screen time. So if you have any pastimes, make sure that they are technology and screen free, and then you'll be doing yourself a favour. But anyway, so just going back to 2019, the reason I don't think we have any brand new stuff is because we have no major aspects between the big outer planets. So what this means is those big outer planets, which represent collective archetypal movements, collective archetypal energy, they're not talking to each other, they're not linking up. And so therefore we're not getting a situation where two are getting together and introducing new rhythm or new flows in the collective. So this means basically that we are kind of going along with the things that we've got, because these things have more to play out. So there is more to play out in Brexit, for instance. There is more to play out in the Donald Trump issues. We will probably still get the droughts that we're getting in some countries around the world, particularly the Southern Hemisphere. We will also get social unrest, which started with the Arab Spring back in 2012, but kind of moved into Europe just recently. We will still get these issues. We'll still get the lone shooting, horrible incidents that happen in America. All of these things they may happen in different ways. Things may happen between them or within them, but I think these issues are just going to keep going. Okay, well that kind of sounds a bit depressing, but there is some things that we can do. There is ways in which we can make the best of it. And I think that's what we should be thinking about, really. So I'm just looking down because I've got some notes here. I can't remember all this, you see, my memory. So I'm just going to look at the 3 months separately, because I think then you can get an idea of how to harness the energy and make the best out of it. Because after all, it's another year. We're going to make the best out of it, aren't we? Just because we haven't got all the new stuff till 2020, whatever, we'll have a good time. And speaking of 2020, yes, we must remember that is a pivotal year, and 2020 does contain lots of new stuff. So, okay, what will we do with 2019? So we start out with January, and in actual fact, as the new year bursts upon us, Mars moves into Aries. The planet Mars moves into Aries. Now this should be a good omen, because Mars is all about action. Aries is all about action. These two together should mean there's a party going. It means we should hit the ground running. We should have lots of vigour and energy in January. Mars likes to root the energy through the muscles, so it's a time for vigour, it's a time for physical exercise. Now this is great, isn't it? Because if you've got plans to get down to the gym in January, you've got exactly the right thing happening in the sky to help you. So that's jolly good news. No excuses now. You have to go. But the other problem is that we have a lot of Saturn and Capricorn energy, and unfortunately this means that things are held back, that they're blocked, that they're slowed down. Saturn and Capricorn put things into very slow motion, as if we're walking through treacle or molasses, as you say in the USA. And so it makes it a bit hard to use the Mars Aries energy, because we on the other side of the sky, we've got stuff blocking it and slowing it down. So how do we bring these two things together? Well, what we have to do is work forward, but do it patiently. So no rushing at things or punching through, trying to get it done quickly, because Saturn will no doubt sort of, delay you a bit. What you need to do is step forward purposefully and slowly and patiently. So make your movements sort of smooth but forward. So you're pushing with gentleness, but at the same time you're still moving forward. So you're bringing in that earthy, we'll get this done, with the Mars energy, and rooting the two things together. And so you're pushing forward, but you're doing it with a consistent force and not because that kind of will maybe meet some resistance. So put those two things together and you could have quite a productive month. Certainly you'll have a productive month down the gym, because all that hard work, you need Saturn to help you out with that. But also in any projects that you need to get off the ground. I think this is going to be a good month for that kind of thing. Okay, now it's also eclipse season. January has 2 eclipses. On the 6th of January, we have a partial solar eclipse. And I'm just going to look at my notes right now, because I'm not going to remember this if I don't read it. So the partial solar eclipse on the 6th of January is at 15 degrees of Capricorn. And then we have a total lunar eclipse, so an eclipse of the moon, on the 21st of January, and that's at 0 degrees of Aquarius. Bad news, I'm afraid, if you live in the UK and you are a supporter of Brexit, because both of these eclipses don't bode well for the UK's chart. In fact, the eclipsed moon on the 21st conjuncts the UK's Jupiter. So what that means is there is a temporary blackout of confidence in the UK. It's like an eclipse. The light goes out on the confidence in the UK. So that's probably not good news, because the 21st, as I understand it, is an important day for Brexit. Oh dear. Okay, so just going back to the month and what you can be doing in it. So instead of being the hare, be the tortoise, if we're going to go to the lovely fairy story about the hare and the tortoise. You don't want to be rushing at it like the hare, you want to be treating it like the tortoise, and then you'll get the best out of January that you can get. Okay, looking at February now. The last week in January, we're not looking at February, we're looking at the last week in January. The last week in January, the blocks come off. So this kind of block that I was talking about, the thing that slows you down, that drops as the sun moves into Aquarius. Then suddenly things are released and there is a lot of masculine energy, a lot of forward movement. Yay, finally you can get going. And so the whole world can get going with networking, communicating. This is a great time for action. Brilliant. So we will see a lot of action globally in the news. Things like the debt in Italy and Greece, for instance, will come up. No doubt there'll be lots of Trump issues. Generally, this is a very active month, and that's great. Climb in there, get into the action, because this is actually one of the best months if you want to do something, you have a project in mind or what have you. This is the time to get it all going. You'll enjoy a lot of connective energy, so this is great. Well, it's not looking so bad now, is it? And then we move into March. March is a very confusing month, right? So there's lots of movement, but there's no particular direction. It's all a little bit vague. Now this means that you're not pushed in a certain direction, you have loads of choices. So you could look at that and you could think, okay, well, at least nothing's blocked off, at least everything's open for me. But if I'm honest, it can be a bit like, well, you sense that everything needs sweeping out or clearing down, and yet you're not quite sure what's going to take its place. So it's confusing. Where is my direction? I know I have to let go of things, but what am I letting go of? You probably will not be able to see in March. It's probably just, you probably just have to accept that that's the way it is until we get to the 20th of March, and that's when we have the equinox. And there is a full moon in Libra actually on the equinox on the 20th. So this is good for relationship, but the great thing about the equinox is when we get past it, past the 20th of March, then you'll see more clearly. You'll have much more of an idea of direction, much more of an idea of what you want to initiate, what you want to instigate, and you'll look back and see that there were things that you identified that you needed to let go of, and maybe you have done that by then. Okay, so that's as fast an overview as I can give you. I will be obviously updating you throughout the year. So 2019, a year if you like of tension, but it has its creative moments. There are things you can do with it. You need to be watching my YouTube channel if you like every month, where I give you a monthly astrological forecast, and don't forget to have a reading with me looking how to make the best out of 2019 for your personal chart, because of course you personally have got aspects to your planets, and they will tell a different story or a better story or whatever than just this sort of brief sort of global view, and that would be great because I love talking to you. But anyway, the main thing is I hope you have a fantastic 2019. I hope you have a fantastic holiday season, and let's look forward to 2019, and then let's look beyond to 2020 also, but let's just look forward and let's just make the best of it, because that's great. And it's been fabulous to talk to you. My name is Alison Chester-Lambert. As is quite obvious, I'm an astrologer, and I hope to see you again soon. Bye!